Howdy, folks. Welcome back to that dadgum Lawrence Jameson show. Once again, it's another live stream. Going to be a live build. I've been having a bunch of technical difficulties with the screen capturing, so I ain't going to get no edited videos till I can get that squared away. Now, everybody that is anybody that fools with Age of Sigmar knows that just come out today. The Malign Portents. It's a new book for Age of Sigmar. A whole bunch of new rules and whatnot. But the main thing that dropped with it was this here Warscryer Citadel. It's a new terrain piece, but it ain't. It's an old terrain piece. Back in the day, this come out and was called, I believe, the Skull Vein Manse. And then it went away for a few years. And now with this new Malign Portents coming out, they decided to re-release this sucker. And I believe it's $110 US dollars for it. But it is a massive model, as you can see right here, by how big, just how big the daggone box is for it. It's huge. Big box. Biggest Games Workshop box I've ever had. So I'm going to take a look inside of it. We're going to bust it out. I'm going to assemble it if I can. And at the same time, I'm going to try to install a set of lights into it to get it to glow a couple different colors or whatnot through the windows. Now, I have picked up a cheapo set of LED lights you can get down there at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or any kind of place like that. I believe I got them with the 40% off coupon. I didn't pay $3 or $4 for this. But it's a string of lights, 15 lights, and it comes up with a AA battery. You can go another direction of wiring your own small LED lights in there and such. It's going to cost you a whole lot more. I'm trying to do this and on the cheap right here. I've seen these up there, and the cost for me to wire it with the lights is going to be just short of $20. And with this right here for about $3, maybe I can do the same thing. Since this is a rather large model, a very large model actually, I'm going to be able to stuff a big old battery pack, which is in these lights. It takes 2 AA batteries. If size was a concern, like I was going to try to light inside of one of them Great Unclean ones or a Night or something like that, I probably would go the other direction where I have a small watch battery powering it. But this right here, I got a whole lot of room up in here, plenty of room up in here to stuff all kind of lights and all kind of batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and bust it open. I'm also going to try to magnetize this top here, this daggone telescope looking thing, Arcana scope they call it, I believe. They also have a battlement section that'll go up on top of there. Now, throughout this video here, I reckon I'm going to be telling you, because I done read up a little bit about it in this here book, about what it does and where, the lore of it and all even, and also what it does on tabletop during the games. And it's pretty, it's not overpowering, but it is going to be a very nice centerpiece, terrain piece for anybody's table. So I'm going to go ahead and bust it up, and we'll readjust the camera so you can see down here on the table everything where I'm going. But real quick, I'm going to show you some of the stuff I'm going to be using in the video, just tools and things. First of all, I'm going to use some testers, plastic cement, and I normally put everything together with super glue, but this is a very large model, and there's a lot of plastic connections to it, and so I reckon I was going to go with this on the main building parts. The super glue that I'm going to use is a Gorilla Glue, the same type I normally use. It's about $5 down at Home Depot, Walmart, anywhere. It's the Super Glue Gorilla Glue. I'm going to use, I use a number 2 X-Acto knife. I like a little bit bigger around. I use number 1 for some things, but my main work I use is a number 2. I got a pair of scissors for cutting stuff up. I got a pair of flush cut nips. And by that I mean on one side it cuts flush and on the other side it cuts bevel. And that's for nipping out the parts off of the sprues. I've got a couple of little sticks here. One of them plastic, for applicating super glue onto a model. And this in here is a wooden toothpick for applicating this plastic glue on here, because it'll eat up a plastic stick. I got a couple of magnets I got here, rare earth magnets. And the lights and some set of batteries that I bought for the lights. Like I said, they're AA batteries. This is a real simplistic light setup and very cheap. I'm going to see if it works. I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to see if it works. I have never gone with this cheap method before. I've always gone with the more expensive with a switch, you know, mainly stuff you see up in like doll houses and things like that. So let me get the camera reset and we'll see what we got in this box. Maybe need a little more. I don't want it to fall over. Sorry, folks, I'm having a little trouble with this very complicated machine called a tripod. There we go. There we go. I believe we're going to be able to see a lot better down there. Now, I'm going to bust the box up. I didn't put the plastic off a little earlier. Of course, I have instructions. I didn't skim through them a little bit. They don't look that difficult at all. That's one reason I decided to do this video. They look pretty straightforward, and there ain't a whole lot of pieces. That's also going to allow me to easily modify and try to put the lights in it. I believe we're going to see. There's the instruction books. Here's the two main pieces that come with it. This is the number 1 and number 2, I reckon. But as you can see, the size of this thing, that's just the base setup. It's going to be big. I'm interested to see just how top heavy this model might become, because there's going to be a lot of weight put up on the top. So we're going to see if I have to weight anything down at the bottom. Now, as you can see up under here, let me get some better light on it. As you can see up under here, there's a lot of room and a big hole. You could almost get your hand in there to put stuff, but it's going to be plenty of room. And if you have to weight it, it looks like this. You know, it's going to be plenty of room for you can put some kind of weights or whatnot to get it to stand up good. Busting the box open some more. We have here's a big sprue with all your walkways. Part of the upper. I'm just going to go ahead and take the rest of these out of the box. Put the box to the side. Here's the more sprues. Mainly of the upper buildings and such. And that arcanoscope. And what I told you I was going to do is I'm going to build arcanoscope. And it looks like I'm going to be able to build the battlements right here separately and be able to magnetize it up onto the top of it. So let's get this put to the side so I can get to working. Now, there's one more thing. The lights I bought, they're just white. And so in order to get some kind of little bit of a tint or color up inside my building, I'm going to have to do a little extra step before I assemble or while I assemble and all. And that is putting some colored plastic in these windows here so that it won't just come out white. Now, I had to do this. You probably could do it if they was already put together, because you have so much room up in the bottom of that. It'd be kind of a little bit ship in the bottle putting it in there, but I believe you could do it when it was put together. But you know, a lot of these things like here I'll be able to take care of before I slap it together. It's going to help me out a lot. So what I want to do is this. I have got some of these folders. Folder dividers is what it is, basically. You know, they divide up daggum notebooks and things, and they come with several colors, oranges and reds and things. And They're basically just, you see, they fit into a notebook and all. And I just picked them up because they were real cheap, about $1. And I have colored, you know, plastic right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working from the back side at first. And I'm going to cut a little strip of this plastic. In this case, I'm going to use purple. I'm going to use purple, I think, for all the ones down here on this bottom building right here. And then I'm going to switch maybe to an orange or something up top. And so at first I just want to get, you know, I can cut it a little bit oversized. It can go in the back here. And I'm going to use my scissors to cut this one down where it'll fit in there. And I'm going to use a little bit of super glue to put these in. So like I said, working from the back, I can cut them oversized. Got a little bit of super glue. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it leaking out onto the face of the glass and crazing my glass right here. So I'm going to drop a piece in. Well, that's drying. I'm going to cut me another one. Now, I'm just guesstimating the size, of course, the width and all that I'm going to need of these. I'm going to cut one of them out, and then I'll just cut it down to the sizes I need. That's going to be a kind of a narrow one. Cut me a narrow piece. And hopefully this ain't going to take too long to get a few of these purple windows in. Now, I'm hoping that this window is going to be enough to show a good purple. It's a possibility I may have to double them up at some point, but I really ain't going to know that till I get my lights in there. You know, and you can't really tell from just holding it here because, you know, when you close them together, it's going to get dark up inside there, and you're going to have a darkness. You know, when you put that light in, hopefully this is going to show a purple. Now with this in here, I'm just kind of measuring, eyeballing, because I can cut them oversized. Because it'll go in an oversized, I don't have to have an exact measurement. Like, I guess you could get a ruler and measure it out and say, oh, I need one this many centimeters by that many centimeters. But I'm just doing it by eyeball and doing what a carpenters call the sneak up on it method. I cut it big, and then I just sneak up on it by cutting it down lower and lower and lower until I have finally hit the right size. Now, being a carpenter myself, I do that quite a bit, the sneak up on it method. So remember that one. Okay, got that second one in. Here's that thin one up top. We've got to cut it down just a little bit more, and I'll get it put in. And like I said, right now what I'm doing is putting in some colored plastic made out of some folder dividers. It's going to give my windows a little bit of a tint when the lights come through on it. We've been putting them in from the back side with super glue here. I'm trying not to get too much super glue on it. I don't want it to get on the face of the glass where you can see through it, and so it'll craze it and just mess up the glass too much. Got that one set in. So as you can see, I got all three pieces put in on this one from the side. Now, one thing I'm going to have to do to up here is I'm going to have to cut a hole. This is how it goes from the bottom. There's going to be a building sitting right up on top of here. What I'm going to have to do is drill down through here, and I will in a minute to get my wires and all through. I may wait till I get it put together. I may take a little cutout. In fact, I am going to do it right now while I got it up here. I'm just going to take a Dremel. I'm going to cut a space down into it. And I just wanted it big enough to where I can thread through some of them lights to bring them up to the upper story. See, I made a little half circle there with a Dremel. That'll allow me to get, once these is snapped together, that allows me a little hole there. I believe it's going to be big enough. We're going to see. I believe that's big enough to get my lights through. I'm going to put a little matching one real quick on this other side before I get to putting the windows in that one. You see, I just laid it down in there. Woo. Then when we get these two put together, that's going to leave me a big enough space to thread my wire right down through the top there. So with that taken care of, I'm going to get the purple windows put on this section here, and then we'll get them glued together. So working from the back side again, it's looking like that is going to be a good size. Just need to trim it down a little bit more. Put me a little super glue around the window. Because I've cut it big, I don't have to get right up next to the window with it. Place that down over. And once I get it down, I don't want to smear it around because, like I said, I don't really want to show too much of that super glue over on the front. Leave me one more piece of that purple for this section. That should be about the right size. Dry fit it real quick. Check it. I need to trim it down just a little bit narrower. There it goes. Put a little glue around this one. Now these are relatively flat on this back side. If I needed to, I could have took that Dremel and carved out if I needed a little more room on the side of these windows, but I don't. It's looking like it's gonna stay, and make sure that gets stayed down flat. This is a little bit curved on the back side, so I'm gonna hold it for just about 10 seconds. See if it'll let go. All right, I got one more small window to go. And that's that real narrow one up there. So I'm gonna cut me a small, narrow piece of my purple. Come in here. I got to trim it a little bit less, a little bit narrow, and a little bit short. Come in there. I just need a little more narrow. This one's a kind of a tight fit up in there. There we go. Using the sneak up on it method once again. I've got it down to the right size. And touching some super glue there. I'm going to keep my purple stuff around because I believe coming up on the next couple pieces I'm going to have. Use my scissors to get it down in there. I believe I'm going to have to be adding more purple to a couple more. So now I got those windows in that side. You see how they're oversized and all glued in. Got it there. So now I'm going to take this piece and my other piece that I already have those windows glued into, and I'm going to glue the whole shebang together. Clear out a little bit of that flash that I created with the Dremel when I made me a hole up here to pull wires from down under to the top. Now I'm going to dry fit it one time, and I'm going to look at it to see if I'm still, once I get it together, I'm going to be able to get wires to go up in there. So first, let me pull out my lights, see how they're going to, because I might have to dry fit them before I put this thing together. And you see this contraption is where there's a switch on it and all, and I'm going to mount that somewhere up inside of here once I got it done and all. I'm going to mount that up in here, somewhere I can get to the switch and switch it on and off, because it has some type of sparkling lights or whatnot. We'll see what's going on with it. Then you got a whole mess of 15 of these lights coming out. Now I reckon if I don't need some of them, I'll be able to tape over top of them, because I believe these don't get that hot. We're going to see. I believe I'll be able to tape over them, but I'm going to try to see if they're going to fit through there with it already glued. Or I may just lay it up in there like this here and then glue it, which is maybe what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to take a look at the instruction and take a look at the final picture up there and just see about how many lights I'm going to need up near the top. All right, it's basically this section here that's going to have to be lighted, and there really ain't no windows in the telescope part there. So the windows is going to be lighted is, I reckon, these ones up here. So I think I only need a couple of lights way up top there. So I'm going to take, and anything extra, of course, it can get stuffed just right back up underneath it, later on. And if I really needed some more, I reckon I can pull them through this hole. But for right now, I believe I'm just going to stick. Let's just do 3. Heck, we got a lot of them. Let's do 4 coming out that top right there. And that'll bring us down like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some of this blue tape. I'm going to tape this in where it'll hold down, and once it gets held together, and this blue tape will also allow me, since I'm not gluing it down or screwing it in or something, if I really do have to pull some more wire up higher or vice versa, pull it back down, this tape will give way when I go and pull it on. It won't hold, you know, just permanent. So get these set up. Get some of this just taped down here, and this is just temporary to keep it flat and laid down where I can get this thing glued in. One more piece up top, and I'll be ready to start the gluing. Okay. Now here's another thing, man, about this inside stuff is that you see I'm doing it kind of sloppily and messily because nobody's ever going to see this inside. Like you look at some of the really fine table works and furniture and stuff of days past when people was building them by hands. If you flip them upside down, they're really rough and all. It's what people can see. A lot of times with my models over here, you know, a lot of these models I'll be painting, you turn them upside down, they're just, you know, it's just black and stuff like that. But you can't see any of that from up here because you only really need to paint and do the things that people are going to see. So anyway, it's about ready to put together. I'm going to dry fit it down one more time. I see a little bit of flash. Flash is what you call that little bit of plastic that's extra off the molds. I'm going to clear a little bit of flash off of that one. I'm going to make sure these sit pretty flush. They got pins that help to line them up, and I don't think they hold it together like snap tight. But it's looking like it's going to go. If I was to push it real hard, it's going to go together. So I reckon it's time to get some glue on it. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bust open this glue here. And I got me a little block. And I'm going to put my glue out on my block. And I'm not going to use my glue. You can put your glue just straight on here. And I do at times. But for right now, to make it a little bit more neater and have more control, I got a block right there. And I'm going to put glue out on the block like that. And you make sure you put it out on a wooden block or metal or something like that. If it is, because you put this out on plastic, it starts to melt it. Because that's how this here glue puts these plastic pieces together. That type of glue there melts the plastic. And when they come together, they form like a welded bond. So then I'm going to take me, of course, a piece of wood, like a toothpick. And that's what I'm going to use to scoop up a little bit of this here. I done found a little bit more flash that I got to clean off. I probably should have been a little bit more careful about looking at it before I started putting it together, but there we go. Now I don't want to get none of this glue on them wires. And from dry fitting it, I know where it's going to go together, so I done seen where it's going to go together. I want a little bit in them holes. Not too much. Them holes are mainly just to guide you. They ain't really to hold it together. What's holding it together is these flat spots here welding to the other flat parts. Got a little bit too much. That's a good thing about having it on a toothpick. You know, you can control how much you're actually putting onto the plastic by how much you're rubbing off of the toothpick. Drawback is you're going to get some strings that string out. That's the drawback to pulling it back and forth like this. But you can clear them up later, and they won't have any effect on anything. Just a couple of little spider webs around. Now look over here, I'm gonna have to add a little bit more glue out onto here. A little bit more glue. Just about done. All right, I believe that's the first part here. I'm gonna line up my tabs and get this sucker together. There, there, and there. I heard a little click up front. That's a good sign. That went together. Now over to here, make sure my wires is out of the way in that hole. I'm pressing it together. Now, I reckon because this is an older kit, and things ain't just as technologically advanced as they are now with these just brand new kits. I got a little bit of garbage and it's trying to pull away a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I squeeze it tight together and I'm going to run some blue tape and try to hold it together. Now, you can use rubber bands in spots if you want to get this thing clamped together. But especially when you're using this type of glue, it doesn't dry instantaneous. It ain't like super glue where you hold it for 10 seconds and it's just a done deal. This stuff here has to dry for just a minute. So we're going to get this clamped together. As you can see up here, it's got a little bit of a gap, not too much, but I'm going to squeeze it together. And while it's squeezed together, I'm going to wrap it around with some tape. Get down here and get some more pressure on it down low. Now them gaps, man, we're going to show light through them because I'm putting light on this thing. They're going to show the light through them. So I either going to have to get them closed right now with the glue, which is the way you're supposed to, or I'm going to have to put some kind of something on there to close them off before I paint it, or light's going to shine through them cracks. Okay, as I got it now, like I said, I got 4 lights out of my little 15 strand that I put up top. I'll be able to cover some of them. Actually, did I put 5? No, I got 4 up there. And then the rest of my lights is on down through the bottom, down to my little controller. Now, what I want to do right now so I can work on it good, I'm going to wind up all this excess lights onto the controller box. And I'm going to put me a piece of tape around it to hold it, and then I'm going to jam it back up inside there because I'm not really ready to work on my lights yet. I just want to get them in there because I had to run that one up top. Okay, so now I tape them in there, and I'm going to jam them inside there so I'll be able to work with this thing sitting flat and all. Alright, now I got it up in there. This one here, of course, I'll have to do a hole in the bottom of that top part and bring those lights up too. So as we're sitting right here, and I'm going to take a look at the instruction booklet and see what is the next step now that we got the 2 main pieces together. Okay, next thing it says you need to cut out number 14 and 24, which is the 2 end pieces that go there. So we're going to find 14 and 24 and chop them out. That looks like all stuff that goes to the top. That's roof sections and such. So 14, 24 ought to be over here. I believe this is one of them. I'm cutting them out. Now, always when you're cutting out, you want to put, when you're first cutting out, you want to cut with the flat part, and I'm talking about the flush cut, toward the outside, not toward the piece that you're cutting out. Because if you cut it with the flat part there, the bevels will push these cutters, and this thing ain't got nowhere to go. It can distort the plastic, especially if you're cutting it up close. Once you got it off the sprues and you got, you know, you can leave some extra pieces there, then you put the flush part up against the model and snip off these big suckers. Then you come back with a knife, X-Acto, and I'm gonna clean off the little bit that's left after the cutters get in there, and any other flash that I see off of there. I'll be very careful cutting back towards yourself. Sometimes I like to use a little bit of a dull blade. I just changed this blade out so it ain't too dull. I'm gonna have to be careful. I do have some precaution here, but it ain't really precaution. I sliced my thumb up a couple of days ago, and I got a piece of tape on it right now. And sometimes if you're cutting back towards yourself like this, the way I'm scraping, you know, and especially if you're new to it, it ain't a bad idea to see that thumb right there. It's got a cut. It ain't a bad idea to take you a piece of tape, and instead of Band-Aids and all, I'll wear this tape actually. Wrap you a piece of tape around it right there. That way, just in case you cut back towards your thumb. But like I said, I got a built-in one of them today. So that's piece number 14 there. Now we're going to look for 24. What's she look like? Got a chimney on it. 24. I found it. It's on this little sprue. Once again, I'm leaving a flat spot to the outside as I'm chopping them off the sprue. And once it gets off the sprue, then I'll put the flat side back up against the piece and snip with the flat side against the piece. That way, you know, the bevel pushes that piece out. When you're on the sprue and you cut that way, it don't have nowhere to go, and it'll push in and put a big dent in the side of your model right here, right where these little sprues connect. And once I'd done that a few times, I figured out what was going wrong. But it took me a few, so of trial and error and messing up a couple of pieces. But really, you know, there ain't a whole lot of messing up on some of this that you can't cover up. That's the big skill about anything, you know, is covering up your mistakes. Anybody can glue two of these suckers together. Anybody can slap paint on them and whatnot. But covering up your mistakes, because everybody makes the mistakes. Even if you be doing this 50 years, you're going to make mistake after mistake. But covering your mistakes so other people can't see them, that's the true mark of your skill. Covering up mistakes. And then you'll get to where nobody can ever see any mistakes. And it ain't that you ain't making no mistakes. It's that you done got so good at covering them up, people just can't see them. Now, it looks like this long one is going to be put over on this open backside. I need to orient this now the way to my picture is. It looks like this is going to be put over onto this backside to here. So I'm going to dry fit it one time. I'm going to look to see if it's got some windows in it, and it does. So I'm going to take another little piece of that purple, and I'm going to snip off a little piece of purple. Dry fit it right there. It fits. Take a little bit of super glue. Glue around that window on the back side here. Set in my oversized window. There it is. Now dry fit again. Yep, you can tell the difference between them old models like this one and the newer models, man. They just got a lot better. I believe this model was probably built before they was doing it completely with computers and all that. And so the fit is just not as precise as them ones now. But, you know, that's part of, you know, why it's called Games Workshop. You know, you gotta, it's a hobby. You got to do a little bit of work to get it together. All right, now that I got it dry fitted, I seen where my glue's got to go. I'm going to come right down this line. I'm going to come right down that line. Now, once again, I'm going to put out a little bit of glue on this wooden block. I'm not going to go straight onto the model with the glue straight out the can. I'm going to get that toothpick. I'm going to work my way down this edge right here. And that edge, because that's where I had seen when I was dry fitting, which is very important. It's basically with big old models like this, it's very important dry fitting and not just going, all right, this part goes to that one, put the glue on it. Not that I don't do that all the time sometimes, but it's really best to try to dry fit if you can remember it. Okay, looks like I got that on. And any bit of glue that's going to be excess, try to drag that towards this middle, toward this inside. Try not to let it lap over that edge. If you look like you got too much glue in there, it's going to lap over. Drag some of it back over toward that middle part that's going to be hidden. So, putting this piece in now. Hopefully it's going to stick. I'm going to have to take a little bit of blue tape to this one too. And right up here in the side, I make sure it's all the way in. These blue tape, you know, kind of acts as clamps to hold it down there until this type of glue can take. Back over to this other side, I'm going to put a couple pieces on there. Do the same thing. Hold it with my finger till it's shut, and then use the tape to hold it down in. Because, you know, of course, this ain't just a 10-second hold, because this glue takes a little bit longer to dry. Now, in just a little bit, we'll be able to remove this other tape we had going on from earlier on. So that piece is in. There was another piece laying around here, this dang chimney piece, and it looks like it's going to go down on the side right here. Hey, can you see that there? There we go. It's going to go down on the side with that piece gluing onto that flat spot. This thing's a little low, ain't it? There we go. There we go. That's better. And it's going to go in there. Once again, dry fitting. Look on this piece for some more extra flash. Any bit that it's got on it looks like it's only on the middle. So it looks like it's going to sit up there. It's going to connect to the bottom. And it's going to connect over here. And as you see, it's kind of a ramshackle house. A daggone Frank Lloyd Wright built this one. And it looks like you're going to have to have a connection point there and across the bottom there. So I believe I got enough glue still out on here. You can't let it sit out there too long, or the air will start to, you know, make it skim up and you get a skin on it there. But I'm putting some glue with my toothpick right along the edge. Now there really ain't no need, I don't think, to put it on both pieces to weld together, because once you get them, once they touch each other, the two pieces I'm talking about, they automatically get, once it gets a little bit of this glue on it, it starts to weld. And so you don't really need to soften up both sides. There are people, of course, that's just a whole lot more OCD or whatnot than me that swear by it, but not me right now. I say just put it on the one side and you'll be just fine. So up here, putting this piece on. That chimney kind of tucks into that corner right there. And I've missed a spot when I was putting the first two pieces together. It was the very tip, the very apex and top of that damn chimney. Not chimney, the roof right here. That I need to get some glue on and get it popped back up under the other piece. As you see them apart too much, I just need a little glue to get that to start melting down. Now, I'll pop that back up under. I'm going to use another piece of blue tape. Grab that there. Roll back up over top of them spikes. Let them spikes spit through. And now that's good. And I'm going to look at my instructions again, see which one of the ones I need to cut out. Looks like piece number 7 is going to go in this corner right here. So I'm going to go ahead and find piece number 7. A little triangle from somewhere. Piece number 7 is this little triangle. Is that piece 7? That ain't piece number 7. This big triangle is piece number 7. You got piece number 7 out. Once again, chop the little ends with the flat part towards the model. Take my knife, clean up. Around the flat. You can tell this is that older type plastic too. It's a little bit softer. And like I said, you get one of them great unclean ones and this and that. Even though they got this repackaged in a Sigmar box, it just seems like it's the old style softer plastic. Okay, I got that dry fitted right there. It looks like it's going to go in good. I'm going to get a little bit more glue out. Put it on the inside here. Most of these GW models, they go together really good. Even a lot of the old ones here. You know, these things is engineered pretty dang good. Even before they had all the computers and whatnot going on with them. They're engineered good. Okay, it looks like it's in there. Need to adjust it a little bit. It looks a little bit crooked for some reason. But you know, this house is a little bit crooked. So that's looking like it's gonna stay in there pretty good. Piece 21 looks like it's the roof for that daggum dormer right there. So I'm looking for piece 21 is gonna be a very small little piece coming out. Piece 21. Now here's one thing I have noticed on here, man. I can't find any of the numbers on the sprues. I just basically got to go by eyeball of what they look like, which isn't that hard with a piece with this, you know, small amount of pieces and all. Excuse me, but there really ain't no numbers on that sprue. Okay, here's the roof for that dormer. We'll clean it off. Now, about these daggum Warscryer Citadels is what they call them. In the lore, when this daggum malign portent first was coming down, Sigmar himself either got mad or I don't know what he did. He went up and scooped up, they said, a bunch of celestial heavens from some of his collection and flung them out across the realms. And they said there was hundreds of comets went out all over the realms, and they flew out, and it was made of them celestial bodies that he picked up, and they slammed into the grounds all over their celestial realms, all over the mortal realms, that is. Now, these dang comets was made mostly of what they're trying to call realm stone, and in particular celestium. And I read up a little bit about it in the books and all, which is going to give me a good idea of what color to paint some veins. There's supposed to be veins of that celestium coming down in this daggum rock where all the skulls and such is doing. So I'm gonna have, you know, I wanted the right color and all. It says it's some sparkly blue. You know, so I'm gonna I'll probably be putting some kind of sparkly blue veinage when I go to painting this, which is gonna be quick. All right, I got 21 in there. I done dry fitted it. It looked like it went down good. Now there's another 21 that's gonna go on the other dormer on the other side. So I reckon it's on the sprue that's real similar to this one because they look like they're dang near the same. So 21 over here. It didn't fly too far. So another 21. Clean it up. And like I said, these have the veins of that celestium inside of them. And of course, you know, it's just considered like just pure magic and all. And now when these damn meteorites come down, they slammed into the earth all over and embedded themselves. And that's what this rock part is one of the meteorites that Sigmar flung down. And then what it said was all around, you know, the mortal realms where these things come down, you know, people, especially wizards and things like that, noticed that this was very high in magic. And I guess that their spells would go off better and they were seeing better dreams and things like that, being around this stuff. So all around these things cropped up these rickety houses and walkways and staircases and things to where the people could get up on top of here and divine these portents. So these new Sigmar heroes they got, the Lord Ordinator. Hang on. Ordinator, I believe that's it. Yep. These Lord Ordinators was especially instructed by Sigmar about what these dang Warscryer Citadels is all about. And they basically all went on quest to reclaim them. There's some heavy dang mold line on the side of that Watch out for that, and Russ. Right on the side of number 21, there's some big mole line. But anyway, these Lord Ordinators went out to reclaim all these Warscryer Citadels. And they said if they was already built up upon by scholars that knew, you know, what was going on, then they had foretold of these guys coming, and they just turned it over to them. And if they was held by other races, they say Sylvaneth, or other races of order, the sheer grandioseness of the Lord Orator was enough to just have them people just hand it over to them. And if it was held by chaos or forces of destruction, then the Lord Ordinator was reinforced there with a bunch of Stormcast Eternals to come and take it back. And according to that lore there, they pretty much took back most all of them, but them big battles sprung up over these Warscryer Citadels, because like I said, everybody seen how potent they was when the magic. And I'm going to tell y'all in a little bit what the real magic of them is in the game, and how they work, how they was to work in the game, and what benefits they have on their own war scroll and all. Let me get the flash trimmed off of this part here, and this part here is just the side of this building here up top. It's going to go right up in there on the side. There is some heavy flash on here where the connection points are from the sprues. It's pretty heavy. Now, the mold lines, of course, in these high quality kits like this, a lot of the mold lines is hidden. A lot of the mold lines are hidden all over this one. But let's see what we got there. That's going to go right in there like that. I dry fit it. I see where my connection points is going to be. And then that way I can get up some glue, and I don't waste time trying to figure out where to put the glue, because that's what dry fitting is all about, figuring out where you're going to put the glue and seeing if you're going to have any kind of problems once you get the glue in there, what type of concerns and problems you might have when you go to snap it together. Is there going to be a big old gap? Is there some reason or another when you're putting this one together you got to hold your mouth just right to get them to go? Well, you're going to find that out when you go to dry fitting pieces. I'm going to put a little bit of glue up a little bit on the front of these tabs, because I see the way they sit in the back, and they kind of catch to help hold this on. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. Like I said, you get some of these spider webs, they're going to come off. You're just going to need to clean them off. To me, there ain't no reason to clean them off as you go. I'm going to wait till the end, clean it off before I would go to painting off. Now, looking like here, I'm going to have to use another bit of blue tape to hold this together till it dries. I squeeze it with my thumbs and my hand to get it pressed down, and then I put the tape on so that the tape is holding it in the correct orientation. That side's done too. I want to peel my tape back a little bit off the spots that I might be able to, that I'm going to be putting stuff on right away in just a second. Now, I believe there's only one more thing for this step, and it's going to be number 6 here. Now, you know what I done did? I done put this up here without covering over the windows, but it's easy access. I'm going to be able to cover the windows real easy from right here. It just reminded me as I was cutting this one out here, that I'm going to need to put the windows in before I can glue this one on. Super thick sprues on this, man. Super thick. So if you're saving daggone sprues to build orc settlements, Brian, and all y'all down at the Warhammer store is saving up all these sprues. They got some project going on. They're building a bunch of orc battlements and all, and fences and whatnot, all with sprues. And it's coming out really good. So keep that one in mind, Brian and y'all, because this is some really thick sprue. Okay, once again, cleaning off my flash where my connection points was. And with this piece, I believe I'm going to go ahead and put my purple windows in. More a little bit off the bottom. Now, being rustic, you know, these buildings and all, you can mess up a little bit. That is one thing I like about rustic stuff. You can mess up a little bit better, and it just ain't hard to correct the mistakes. Okay, for this window, I need a pretty decent chunk of this here purple. Let's see what we got here. Cut me out a chunk. And once again, using the sneak up on it method, where you cut it oversized, and then you just keep cutting it down and down and down until you got it about the right size. Just try not to go too small, too quick. Once you're getting close, that one's close. Now just trim off of just a hair. And take some off the top. Just a little bit off the top. Okay, I'm just about there. Just about got it. I need a little bit more off the top. I need to chop these corners off a little bit because it's not completely square up in there. Okay, now I'm going to dry fit it one more last time. It looks like it's a real good fit. Get it out, and on this I'm using super glue on the inside of this one. Get my super glue in there. And try not to get my super glue coming out the front there. But I need to get it mostly all the way around so it's going to grip. Okay, then I go ahead and place my purple piece inside. Try not to wiggle it around too much. Hopefully this is going to give me a good purple tint. And I won't have to double them up. But we'll see when I put the lights to it. Okay, now I need to cut me some more purple pieces to go down in these two light sides right here. So about how big were they? Will this one even work? I believe that one's going to work right just straight off like I had it. Yep, that's like a malign portrait. That one works without me even cutting it. So I'm going to lay this down. Use my super glue. And with this, you know, I'm not having to be precise with my super glue, so I'm not using a toothpick or anything like that to applicate. Because I'm working on the inside, it can be a little bit messy. And when I go to lay that down there, I don't want to scooch it around too much. Once it gets laid in there, you know, when super glue likes to have its initial grab, the first thing it touches, it usually likes to get on it like that. If you start moving it around, it just delays the chemical reaction. It makes super glue harden and all. Super glue likes it when you just touch and it's one shot and then boom, it will harden very quickly when you do it like that. So that piece is in. I got one more little piece on this side here. Once again, if you're just joining, I'm using this purple stuff from the inside of these folders and all that separate folders, just some tinted plastic. And for these upper ones, I'm going with purple. Purple rain. Okay, it looks like it's going to be wide enough. Now I just went down to the daggone High Museum of Art today. I done the floors in that place about 10 years ago. All quarter sawn, 6-inch oak. I did all the floors, and I had never been back in there to see it until today, 10 years later. And then, of course, I went and toured the whole place and looked at all the arts from some daggone 18th, 17th century masters and whatnot, and all sorts of impressionist painters and all, and really enjoyed it until I got all the way up to the top floor. And on the very top floor of this place, that's where they had what y'all may know it as modern art. And you can call it what you want it. I call it garbage. A lot of it just unbelievable. You know, if that's what art is, well, I guess that's art. I mean, every canvas I come to, I told my girlfriend in there that was with me, I was like, well, now you've reached the bottom. When I seen it was a cardboard box just crumpled up and smashed up against the wall. And that was the work of art or whatever. I was like, all right, you reached the bottom. And then there's a big old pile. I done busted up a few driveways in my time. And it looked like somebody had took about 4 or 5 pieces of busted up concrete from a driveway and just stacked them, just stacked them right there, just on the floor. And that was a display too. And I said, well, now you're here. We done reached the bottom again. You know, this is as bad as it could possibly get. And then, of course, we wasn't at the bottom because we come upon one that was just a blank canvas. And I knew then we was at the bottom because it was just a blank white canvas about 4 foot, about 6 foot, just hanging on the wall blank. And that was the bottom. But like I said, all the other floors that had the actual real art, the marble, statues, and things of that nature, that it was really good and inspiring. And it's just got about everybody wanting to paint around here. Holy Moses. Now they come up on a little bit harder dry fit. Is that going to be able to snap in there? Now I'm going to take this top off of here. It wasn't fitting right anyway. I'm going to be able to come back and fit it in. But I do not like the way this is fitting in right now. Okay, here we go. You got to kind of slide it in. That actually needs to go in there before the top. And then all that needs to come to goof. Going to be a good bit of tape on this one. Now, for this one, I'm not going to use my toothpick. I'm going straight up in there with this because I need some welding going on. So I'm being careful. Being very careful. And any excess, I'm trying to let go down toward the bottom. Toward the inside, not up on top of my roof. Any excess. Using the nozzle to drag it around. Alright, and I got to pay attention to what I was doing because I'm not on the outside here. Take my thumb, I can wipe my fingers and wrap that off. And it sits down right on this edge, on this ledge. That's where I need some of this stuff. Okay, now that looks like what I need here. And I'm going to get this big piece slided down in. And you see it's got to go inside behind that bottom piece. So if any of y'all are going to be assembling this later on, remember, you really need to put piece number 6 in on the side before you go to putting that top piece on. I did it backwards and ended up having to take that piece back off. Now, if you can see how that sits in there like that, I'm going to have to grab some tape and get it to squeeze together. So I get my tape on my main body like that. I get it squeezed together. And then I come across with my thumb and get the connection point so it ain't going to pull back across. Okay, with that same piece of tape, I believe I can go all the way across. It's long enough, and I got it grabbed there. Now I'm going to grab one more across here. It's going to come apart on me. So it looks like I'm going to have to pull it real tight like that. I may have to do 2. I'm going to get another piece of tape and come across. And that one just seems like it's on the verge of snapping. And I put a lot of pressure on that pull. See how I'm pulling around that corner? Get that corner to pull in. And it has squeeze and pinch this thing in. And you do the same thing here with this roof. This roof needs to pinch down. I'm going to pull it across tight. There it goes. Yeah, this is going to be about the only way I'm going to be able to get this to go together and hold is with a bunch of tape like this. This is an older model. It don't fit together. It wasn't built by computers, I really don't think, man. I think it was pre-computer. Okay, I'm going to dry fit real quick this top piece. It still fits kind of crooked. So what I'm going to do, I like it. I'm going to use a little bit of this. Being careful. Alrighty. Now let's see if I can get that down into there. There it goes. Slide it up. It ain't perfect, but this is a crooked old roof anyway. So I believe. Now watch out for that there's a bad mold line on this spike here up on top of that roof. Real bad, Russ. Watch that one. Now I'll probably go back over this thing again before I paint it, of course, and watch for any of these obvious mold lines and stuff like that. So now I got all my windows in there like that. Got this put together to there, and I'm done with step number 2 on the instructions. So over to step number 3 is looking like it's putting the daggum roof up onto this top part. And it is. So I'll go over here and we'll find my roof. And it's on this sprue here. Found my roof. And chop it out. And then those dormers look like they got their shutters closed, so there ain't gonna be no windows coming out the top of these dormers. That's one piece. Once again, I'm using the flat spot, the flat part of my cutters to the outside, away from my piece. That way I'm pushing the sprue out. I'm not pushing in toward the piece. Once I cut them oversized, 1/8 to 1/4 inch oversized, and then I come back and I can nip them all off with the flat part up against the piece, and I don't get any of that push out and distortion of my plastic. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna take my knife, clean off the flash around the outside. And this one is pretty important because it's sitting on a flat spot. I got to make sure I get all that flash out before it gets assembled, or it's going to interfere with the proper connection. Like I said before, be careful with an X-Acto knife cutting back towards yourself. I didn't cut myself with one. I don't even know how I cut myself on a piece of laminate or something at my work. But I have cut myself before a little bit, just little razor cuts when I'm cutting back with a brand new X-Acto. When you're cutting back towards your own thumb like that, you can take a piece of tape like I got on here to help a little bit safeguard from them little razor cuts. All right, that's the first one down. Like I said, some of these are sitting on a little ledge, and that's right where some of this flash. Once again, that's this model showing its age, because by gum, them new kits, they don't have none of these problems like that. They hid the mold lines a lot better on these newer kits, and it just seems like the plastic is harder. Not that this ain't, act like I'm complaining, but this, I'm not really. This plastic is just a little bit different grade, and I know y'all know what I'm talking about. If you go out and buy you one of them older Slave to Darkness or one of them older kits from the Warhammer Fantasy Battle days that's still on the shelves, you'll be able to tell, even if it's been repackaged sometimes, that it's just a lesser plastic. Okay, I got these 2 roof sections cleaned off, and I'm fitting to dry fit them to the top here. They probably only gonna go one way. There's that one. And it don't look like this is the way. Oh, you got an extra piece that goes down in there. Okay. So it looks like they're going to be dry fitted like this. And it looks good. Looks like it's going to work. I'm going to get that little piece out, number 25. Even though these ain't marked on here, it doesn't look like. I'm going to get on piece number 25 out. And see how it dry fits down in there with the rest of them. Piece number 25 just flew off onto the floor, but I found her. Alrighty, now what this Warscryer Citadel will do for you in the game is a number of things. First of all, you can garrison a hero from your army and one other unit inside the thing. Now, by garrisoning it, it means you pick your model up and take it off of the battlefield, or you can place them up here on one of them ramparts and all in the unit. You take them off the battlefield, and they're garrisoned inside this. And then from then on, when they're garrisoned inside of here, all your measurements and whatnot. Oh, it looks like I want to put these together first. All your measurements and whatnot is going to be measured from this Warscryer Citadel, and this is considered an enemy model to the enemy once you got people inside of it. Now, once you have somebody inside of it, a hero and all, once during their hero phases, they can take a roll on this table because they're trying to scry the signs, of course, of the malign portents of from the celestial realm stone that this daggum thing is sitting on. So each turn you get to roll dice, and it's going to give you little buffs, little boons of -1 to this and +1 to that. Just little minor things to people within certain ranges of the Citadel. Now, and you roll on the table in order to find out which ones of those. Now, the thing is, if you're a Lord Ordinator, one of them Stormcast fellers, the new Harbinger, then you don't roll on the table, you just pick on the table. And then you pick the one that's going to suit you the best for that turn and all. So that's how that works. And then another thing it's got going for it. There we go. Another thing it's got going for it is that if it has one of them telescopy things on top, Arcana, you know what it is. Arcana scope. It's got one of them up top. Then you basically can attempt to unbind one spell per turn, even if you're not a wizard. And if you're a wizard up in here, it's going to let you unbind an additional spell. So, like I'm saying, with the Arcana scope, the telescope type thing up top, that's going to allow you to be able to unbind spells if you can. Well, if someone's casting spells within 18 inches of the Warscryer Citadel, because, like I said, that becomes your model and what you measure distances from, not the man itself on the dang walkway. It's the Warscryer Citadel itself is where you're measuring all your ranges and all from. And what it does, like I said, it allows you to unbind a spell even if you're not a wizard. And if you are a wizard, you'll be able to unbind 2 spells during that turn. Now, another thing it does, while being garrisoned inside of it, it acts as cover. That's going to give you +1 to your save throws and all. And it also gets -1 to enemies to hit rolls trying to attack you. I reckon it's taking into account that where if they're trying to go melee hand to hand down at the bottom part of this sucker, and you're happen to be up in the top, that's a -1 to hit you. But like I was saying, enemy units can come up in there and attack this thing hand to hand, but they're not really actually attacking it. They're attacking the folks inside of it. And the folks inside of it, of course, can attack as well. Now, they can't move while they're in garrison. And the only way to get out of garrison is in your movement phase. You can ungarrison the thing, and then you'll place the unit and or the heroes within 6 inches of this Warscryer Citadel. Now, that's another way you can get it. You can start the game garrison inside of it if it's in your territory, of course. And you can garrison it if there's nobody in it. No enemy models are within 3 inches of it. And you have your units wholly within 6 inches of the model, the Citadel itself. And if that is the case, then you can automatically just garrison. You pick your pieces up off, even if they move 4, I guess, if you're within 6 inches of it. But you pick your pieces back up off, and you are garrisoned inside of it, and you're receiving the benefits. Now, what does the battlements do for you? The battlements is an optional deal that you can put up on the top in place of the telescope, of the arcanoscope. You can put it in place of that, and I'm going to do magnets, so I can go do either one, either or. But when that's up there, that allows a daggone monster that can fly to be able to garrison this Citadel. So that means, and they even give the example on the daggone war scroll of a star drake sitting up on top of here. And I'm going to tell you this, if you had a star drake up on top of here, and then you had a daggone Lord Ordinator in here as well, that was allowing you to pick which ones of those boons that you get off of the table instead of having to roll for them, I reckon that'd be pretty daggone strong. It sounds really strong to me. Star drakes and stuff up on top of these, just raining down breath and whatnot down onto people. But once again, like I said, you'd use the closest point of this model as your range, even if it's the bridge that's going to be sticking out here on the side. You'd use that as the range, what you measure range from. So it can be a benefit to you, and it can be, a little bit of a curse to you. I don't know. We'll see. Now I'm trying to get this set in. Looks like I got it clicked in. I got glue up on the top. Raise this up a little bit so we can see what's going on. I got this roof set on. And I reckon now that we got this enclosed a little bit, we can try out these lights and see if we're getting any kind of purple glow on the inside there from the lights. So I'm going to bust me out a couple batteries. Got a couple batteries. Lay this sucker back down. Hopefully that glue is took good enough for me to lay this down like this. And like I've been saying all along, the fit and finish of this, it's got a little something to be desired. It's an older kit, and you definitely can tell that it's an older kit because it's not going together just as precisely as all these new kits do. So with this simple little Chinese, where'd my go? There we go. With this simple little light setup, I'm trying to save money here. We're going to see how this one works, man. It may be too bright. It may not be bright enough. May have too many lights. We're going to see. All right, I'm going to kick it on. That looks like it's blinking. That's regular. All right, we don't want blinking. That's blinking. That's staying on. Now, these here are the ones that need to be up inside of here to be giving me my purple glow. So, let's see if I'm getting a purple glow. Now, I can't tell yet. I know I'm getting a white glow over here, but I can't really tell you. I'm going to cut off the lights a little bit. Is it glowing now? Let me cut that other one off. Let's see what we got. And I'll cut them right back on, I promise. All right. Let's cover that over. You can see my windows in there glowing a little bit. This can work. I guess in real life here, I'm fairly pleased with it. Of course, all them cracks got to go away, and that's gonna help. When I'm looking at it here, I'm gonna have to run some of them lights up toward the top to get a better deal. Now I can kind of see how they're working, and I see what it's gonna take to get them right. But overall, so far, I'm pleased with what I got going on with the lights. Once again, I guess you can make them blink up in here. They're gonna be blinking back and forth, but I'm fairly pleased with what I got. So I'm gonna take the rest of them lights again, wind them up, put a piece of tape back around them, I'm gonna jam them back up inside there until I can get this thing finished building. That way, I keep them all everything all together. Jam this in there. Put one piece of tape across to hold it. Hold it in there. Alrighty. So like I said, I'm fairly pleased about how the lights is coming out. I can peel a good bit of this tape off, especially down here at the bottom, where it's already, that's as dry as it's gonna get. The first bits of tape that I put down there to hold this together, I can go ahead and take off. I'm gonna leave these other pieces on for just a little bit more. I still gotta, them still ain't dry. Okay, so that's gonna finish up with step number 3, which is that roof right there. Now step number 4 looks like the bridge assembly. Right, well I'm gonna go ahead and skip the bridge assembly for a second. Am I? Yeah, I'm gonna skip the bridge assembly for a second, and I'm gonna go over here to this upper deck right here, because I'm gonna have to do a little drilling and whatnot with it. So it says I need to find number 10, the platform that goes up onto here. So I'm gonna look around on my sprues, and even though they ain't numbered, I pretty much can guess that this one here is number 10. We get it cut out. It's a daggone hexagon here, and it's saying that the flat part is going to end up going up, I guess. So I guess you got exposed timbers and whatnot underneath. So this one's going to require, this piece here is going to require a little modification because it's got wires coming up through the bottom of it, which means I will reckon I'll have to drill me a hole, and I will here in a second. Cleaning that big flash off. Like I said, there's some big flash points on this model. This is an older model. You know, I heard some people say, well, they'd hope they had redone some of the molds, because you know you're gonna get some mold lines a lot, you know, more than normal. Okay, and it looks like the way this is slided along the bottom is the way it's slided through these 2 points here. And it looks like that circle right there is my hole that fits over the top of here, and it is. So that means I just got to drill a hole big enough to get these lights through that little hole right there. So I'm gonna look around and see if I ain't got a drill bit just laying here that's gonna be big enough to cut through there. I reckon it's gonna do. Okay, I think this drill bit here will get them daggone lights through there. I'm gonna grab me up a drill. I want another battery. Oh my goodness. Let me go grab me another battery. Well, we got bad news. We're out of batteries. So we're going to have to do it the older fashioned way. I'm going to take this here Dremel and dig down into it. All right. There we go. So I blowed a little hole through it. Then I'm going to clean up a little bit with this knife. Okay, now I got that hole plugged through it. I'm going to pull these lights through. And once again, if you just joined, I got a cheap set of lights that I got for about $4 down at Hobby Lobby. It's a string of them LED lights that go off of a AA battery. You know, if I had to pay attention, I'd see which way I was putting this on. So it's got to go this way. And I figured that I could save some money by going with one of these larger systems with all these lights and a AA battery and all. I could save some money rather than going with switches and whatnot there. All right, now I got this dry fitted of where it's going to go. Keeping it on there, I'm going to use a little bit of this glue. I'm using plastic glue for this because I want a good weld. Of course, it's done clogged up on me from me having it sit there. There we go. Got a little bit of a drip. Okay, here we go. Now, they got two little slots right there. And that hole fits right over the top. Get my lights pushed through. And there it is. Now with that, I don't reckon I need to use any tape to hold it together. I'm going to let gravity kind of help me here in a minute. Now that I've got it squeezed, I squeeze it to make sure I'm getting all my contact point down. And that one's on there. Now it's saying right here in step number 6 that you got to put together the round part here. I reckon they're calling it the tower assembly. All right. And you got to cut out the 4 pieces to the tower, which I'm fixing to do right now. Once again, I'm using flush cut nippers. And I use the flat part, the flush part, to the outside away from my piece. Because it pushes, you can watch it push the sprue out. And if you got them the other way, it pushes your piece. And the plastic's got to deform somewhere. And if you, especially if you got them up, just up against that too close, it is definitely going to snap them off. Now, where are my other 2 pieces? There they are. Here we go. Now, I reckon why they used to call this the skull vein manse was this, there's a lot of dadgum skulls. You know? Because they did build in a lot of skulls on this thing. Which that makes it strange that they just about give it over here in the lore to the dadgum golden boys, the Stormcast Eternals. Seem to be like who this is for. Now, everybody can use it, of course. But it's by having that Lord Ordinator, by having him on there, he can pick on that chart instead of just rolling on the chart. That's actually pretty strong. And so these is on, and then in the lore, of course, you know, the Lord ordinators, they were the ones that come around and try to lay claim and take back all these places. A lot of them has already been took over by wizards and people that know anything about magic, because when they first come down, they were identified as just places of magic. They might not have known why, but of course the why was in the lore there that Sigmar grabbed up a bunch of celestial realm stone and whatnot and throwed it out into the heavens, and it scattered all over the mortal realm. And where it come down, all this right here is that realm stone, celestium. And where it come down, it's just like a magical energy, and folks built up ramshackle places and all sorts of walkways and things around all these places, and also telescopes, or they're calling them arcanoscopes, was built up around them. And like I said, this model here can really be built in about 2 different ways, really about 3, but the main 2 ways: you can either have the arcanoscope up top, or you can have the battlements up top. It's just like a top to a castle. And what I'm going to do is, once I get this together, I'm going to magnetize the top end of this to where I can have the arcanoscope, or I can have the battlements on whichever I want it. And the only benefit, the benefit that the battlements is giving you, of course, is you can have garrison a daggone monster that can fly in there. Hello there, Redwell. I just seen that up there. But you can garrison a monster up on top there. They give an example of a star drake being garrisoned up there. And of course, like I was saying, being garrisoned means you're going to get a +1 to your save, just like being in cover. You're also going to get a -1 on all enemy to hit rolls. Kind of one of the drawbacks to it is when you're garrisoned in there, you're considered a giant model. This is considered the whole daggum thing as an enemy model. And so that means is a lot of places where people could come up to it and attack it. You can actually get a whole mess of folks in there attacking it. Now, when you're attacking when you have folks garrisoned in there and enemies are coming up and going hand to hand with this thing, you're not actually attacking this. It don't have no wounds. You can't put wounds and stuff on it. You're actually fighting against the people that's inside of it. And they can be set up inside of it, or you can get inside of it by garrisoning yourself at the beginning of a move phase. If you ain't moved already, you're within 6 inches of it. Now, a hero and a whole unit can get up in there and garrison. And of course, according to the lore, once one of these things is found, sometimes if chaos is a hold to it, it's going to be a big fight over it that could last a while. And if order's a hold of it, they'll pretty much just giving it over to the fellas. And so it's going to be a good centerpiece for narrative battles and other things. Now look, on this here, and I know I put purple windows in them other ones. On these here, I believe I'm going to do orange. It's just 4 little windows here. And I'm going to get a piece of my folder out right here that I was talking about. I bought these, and they're just little dividers. I got purple and blue and all. They're just notebook dividers. You see, I have them holes in them. I got them down there for $1. And I'm using them as plastic windows to give a little bit of color to when my lights are in there. And how I'm doing it is from the inside here, on the inside of the piece, before I do this assembly, I'm taking some of this here colored plastic and I'm snipping it up, and I'm gluing it in from the backside with a daggum super glue. So I can cut them a little bit oversized, and I dry fit it. And of course, I use the sneak up on it method, which is you cut it big and then you just keep it a little bit at a time cutting back until you get the right size. Now, of course, like I said, I want to be over a little bit so the glue will work. So I need 4 of them about that size. That's 1, 2, Now, I was going to get all fancy and do some stained glass windows where I cut up a bunch of these things here and then put them on a clear and then put them in. And I might retro that in later, or I might do that on the next one. I just really didn't have time to get all that mess up and get it ready. I'm one of the most impatient fools on this earth. And I wanted to go ahead and build this daggum thing tonight. I can't wait. I can just have it laying up in a box somewhere. All right, then. I'm using super glue. This Gorilla super glue is the main one I'm using. And I'm going to go around on a little bit on the inside here. Both of these windows here. Just stand on the outside of them. Then I can take my little pieces and plop them down on the side. Now, be careful not to rub it around because I don't want none of that super glue showing through the window. And like I said before, super glue likes it when you just lay it, do the first shot. Super glue likes the first chance. You start moving it around. Yeah, it's going to hold, but it's got to restart the whole chemical process, it seems like. And if you can get your pieces together on the first shot with super glue, boom. It usually sticks really good and quick, and you ain't got to hold it long at all, if at all. So that one I had to move around a little bit, and it'll still move. You see this in here, man? I hit on the first shot. It ain't moving nowhere. So I got all four of them put together. Now I got to dry fit this, which is another very important technique that I'm keep harping on. Dry fit. If you dry fit, you can pre-identify where some of your problems are going to come up in putting stuff like this together. So I'm going to use, once again, I'm going to use plastic glue because you have such a big, thick connection point here. I actually do want to weld them together instead of just super glue where it'll crack apart. I'm normally a big proponent of daggum super glue in almost everything. Okay, I got some on there. Now look, I'm putting them together. Now it's going to take it just a minute for the other side there to soften up, and for the side that I put the glue on to soften all the way up to where you can start getting the weld. So I'm going to hold it for just a minute. And I'm going to set that one down. If I can get it to hold, I believe I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to take it upside down now. It's just got them tabs. I get it upside down, I can get it to hold pretty good. Now I'm going to get this other one going. That way I can get the two pieces and get them put together. Okay, once again, dry fitting. We'll show you where you might run into some problems, where there's going to be some gaps, where there might be a spot that you have to hold your mouth right to get it to go together. Now, once again, like I said, this is a little bit softer plastic than the newest kits. That, I mean, I'm gonna tell you this: that daggone great unclean one, that plastic is hard as woodpecker lips. This here, you know, is a little bit softer, and I'm not really complaining on it, but because compared to like everything else, every other company, this is just top notch. But you can, when you compare them to their own self, because they are, you know, GW is the best, man. You're paying for the best, toppest quality miniatures in the world, and so you're paying the high top dollar, so you expect the top quality in the world. And on the main, and especially lately, since the resurgence, especially of Games Workshop, and I'm talking about the last 2 years, the dadgum new golden age that we're living in of Games Workshop, where, and you know it's true because they're putting out more stuff. I heard another one of my friends say today, man, I got back into dang Warhammer, and I just, man, if they just slow down, and he only plays 40K. I said, man, you don't even know the half of it. If you play 40K and you play Age of Sigmar, you just don't know the half of it about trying to keep up. Because Games Workshop, it seems to be that nowadays they're putting out as much stuff every couple of months as they used to put out in a year. And I'm not even exaggerating. Okay, I got this finished assembly, and it looks like the top platform assembly I need to get put on here to make this thing exactly. And I already see gaps that I'm going to have to take care of before I go and put the lights completely on. Now, what I want to do to take care of them gaps? Well, I'm going to be able to do it. I'll be able to do it from the underside. So what I want to do is put together my top there. And my top is put together with two of the same looking things. It's these round circles. I'm going to get my top put together, and that is going to square. And by square, I mean not in a square. That means it's going to make a perfect hexagon right there. This is what's going to have this set into the right place. Like when you build a frame, and it might be a little bit out of square when you build up the frame, and then you cut the pieces of plywood exactly square. And when you go and tack them dang plywoods on there, you bend that frame because you know that plywood is square and straight. And so you're bending that frame to get up to that straight plywood. This is going to be kind of the same thing like this. I know this thing is my hexagon that I want. Once I can get this and attach it to those pieces there, it's going to hold it. Because right now, it's not a perfect hexagon. You can squeeze it and it'll go bigger or littler and lopsided on this side or that. So once I can get these put on it, this is a pretty ingenious little piece, it looks like, because they give you it's the same piece, but it slots together because one side laps over the other side. It's actually the same identical piece. But because it goes on mirror style, you don't really notice that it's the same piece. Oh, it's raining outside now. Cold rain. But I bet if there's anybody over in England to watch this, man, they just think, yeah, that's cute, huh? Rain. I bet it rains all wintertime here. I spent a good amount of time over in Germany during World War III. And dadgum, it was cold. I spent some cold nights in Bergen-Hona, Grafenwehr, and a bunch of other places like that. It is definitely cold. And in the wintertime, it wants to rain all the time, too. Even when it ain't snowing, it's raining. And dreary over here in Germany. Dreary. I imagine it is very similar over in bloody old England. Okay, I got this piece dry fitted together. And I'm going to go ahead and put it together like a coin. And I see my connection points. I'm going to weld it up there too with this. Because I have such big connection points, they took to not using my toothpick too much to spread it out. I do need to, like, once I said that. But there's some big, what I'm trying to say is the plastic is very thick here. And see how one of them slots over the top of the other one? Dadgummit. And one of them slots over the top of the other one like that. And it goes in. That's a pretty ingenious little piece. Even though it's the same piece. And then look, it's showing you got two comets. Skull comets going around and around and around like that. Okay, once I got that piece done, it's going to tell me to move over to number 8 here, which is the putting of this on the top of here. So I'm going to look around. I'm going to dry fit. That looks like that's it right there. So even with this off, even with this glued on, I'm still going to be able to work on filling these cracks in here, even though I ain't going to do it right now on the video. I'll still be able to go back inside, probably take some caulk or something. And I'm going to go back down these cracks from the inside. I reckon you could do it with green stuff. I'm going to do it with caulk and stuff to close up those gaps so that my light is only coming through my window. Because even if you don't really notice how big there might be a gap, that one looks okay. But from inside here, I can see light coming. So that means if I put light in there, light's going to flow out of those cracks and take away a little bit of the effect. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this top down first. Like I said, I got some big, thick plastic here. So I'm going to not using an applicator or a toothpick. I'm just going to be using the edge right here. Being careful, of course. And I am going to pop that down right there. Once that's down, like I said, that has squared this up, meaning it turned it to the hexagon shape that it needed to be. It kind of squared it up. All right. Now, this piece here, I believe we're going to dry fit it up on top because this is one of the ones I'm going to magnetize if I can. And you'll be able to stuff these things. Of course, they'll be in a neater configuration by the time I'm all done. Right now, they're just hanging loose, so I can have them up there. In fact, they're hindering me right now. So what I'm going to do, take me a piece of tape, and I'm going to coil these lights up on top and get them out of the way. A little coil. Tape them up and tape them down. There we go. Now everything's out of the way and I can fool with this and dry fit it at my leisure. Okay, that's still moving a little bit because this, you know, when you're using that plastic glue, it can take some time sometimes for that stuff to set up. Now it looks like I can remove some of these tapes that I had on it from way earlier. Because that's about as dry as it's going to get. I don't know how long this video has been going, but it's been going a while. A little bit longer than I thought it was going to go. But this has been a fairly enjoyable build so far. And like I said, older kit, not going together as tight as some of your newer stuff. So you have to make allowances and plan on how you're going to fix some of the stuff, you know, later down the line. So anyway, I'm going to set this up here. See if I can't get it to sit down some kind of way. And you would think that it's hex on the bottom, hex on top, it would go down. Here we go. You know something? The way this just set over the top of that, I don't even know if I need to magnetize it. I don't know if I need to magnetize it right at this moment because that just set over the top. But you know something? The part I'm going to be magnetizing is actually up top here. So I'm tripping. I do need to glue that down there. I need to have that glued down because this part is actually going to stay the whole time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run real quick out of the room. And I'm going to grab that daggum caulk that I need to go on the inside of here to cover up. If you can see in the corners, I'm going to go around. You see down that, where that, right down through there, that crack. You see them cracks? Just letting light through. You see a big one right there. See that? See them cracks right there? They got to be plugged up or else when you turn the lights on up in here, it is really, really going to show. So, let me go grab a daggum caulk gun real quick. Don't you dare go over that. Are you hearing me? Don't you dare go over that. Okay? I'm going to take it away from you. Don't go over that. Okay? That is like, yeah, that's, don't go over that. Well, look at here. I'm back with a caulk gun in hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing upside down. I'm going to run a bead of caulk inside. Down each one of them connections, I'm going to run a bead of caulk. Down the inside of each one of them, like I'm just caulking a daggum window. Right in the crack of each one of them hexagons where they come together. And there ain't but 4 connections, as you can see, because they only, there's 4 pieces. So out of them 4 connections, I've run 4 pieces of caulk. Now I can come back in here with my finger, and I need to make sure it's in the crack, because I might have missed off a little bit with the thing. So get my finger in there and just drag it back, and making sure I don't get over top of windows. Drag it back. Wipe my finger off. Now, I got to do this because once I glue this down, I ain't going to be able to get back up in here without cutting some kind of hole or something, I reckon. But I'm not going to be able to get back up in here to do this. So I needed to do the caulking and close them holes up, because it ain't going to be able to be done later on. There we go. Okay, I got caulk on me. Get that off because I don't want any of that on the outside of this sucker. Now, because I ain't going to be able to get back up in there, I got to do what I'm going to do with my lights right now. Now, I was going to want a light up inside of my Arcano scope. I kind of wanted a light that maybe would shine out of the end of that sucker right there. There are no windows up in there. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm not going to use any of these lights that I'm running up in there for that. I'll get a single separate light that I can get from Hobby Lobby that's on a battery. I can get a single separate light for about $7 on a little battery that I'll be able to put up in there and click on and off. And maybe put a little lens on the end of that. I probably ain't going to do that tonight. But tonight I've got to deal with these 4 lights up right here because I'm fixing to seal them in. Like I said, I'm fixing to seal them in. So how I'm going to do it? I'm going to leave that one down here at the bottom, of course, sticking up. I guess I'm going to put one all the way, taped all the way to the top. So I'm going to get my blue tape. I'm going to take that topmost light and I'm going to tape it in here like a ceiling light all the way down into there. Now, I'm going to have to get a pair of dang tweezers. I didn't show you them before. I'm using a pair of tweezers to get that all the way down in there. Alright, and once it's down in there, I tape it in there, and it's coming out just like a ceiling light. Now, I'm going to take another one of these lights, and I'm getting some stuff on my window there. Some caulk. Okay, I'm going to take another one of these lights, and I'm going to tape them to the side that the windows ain't, the side that the window is not on. I'm going to go ahead and tape that there. So that one will be there. Because I don't want a light right in front of a window. You know, I want the light to shine through the windows. You know, and I didn't put it up to where all my windows is on one side. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it come out. But all right, all my windows is on that one side. So I'm going to tape that second and third light to these walls over here. And as it comes up, it gets shorter and shorter. Go ahead and get that tape in there. And like I said, once I gotta have this right, because once this gets glued in here, this is it. I'm not gonna be able to take it back off. Now I am gonna glue this part down with super glue, so that just in case something is terribly messed up, that I'll be able to get back down in there. by snappage. Okay, let's put it up here and figure out which way I want the windows. I guess I want the windows to the outside, of course. And looking like that's going to be it right there. Come down. Nope, it's got to be like that. Because one of the things is this. They have a long tab and they have a short tab. See that short tab? And then they got a long tab right there. The short tab has to be right here because I don't believe a long tab, it was acting like it was kicking it crooked. And see, I done got some of this caulk on my fingers and I'm messy as hell. Here we go. All right, now that I got that put in the direction I want, like I said, I want the windows to the outside like that. And that's the way they got it too, I reckon. It looks like it. Okay. Make sure that it's oriented about the same way they got it in. I believe it is. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of super glue and pop down around this edge on these corners. Just a bit. So that just in case I'd have to pop it back off, I could maybe pop it back off. Okay, a little bit of glue. I'm coming back down. There she goes. Okay, one thing I wanted to do is make sure that that top is sitting correctly, because it don't look like it wants to lay down flat. Okay, I had to get up under there and smash it down. Now, because I put it on there with super glue, I need to hold it. I was right. You won't get it on there with that long tab over on that side. In fact, that tab's pushing out a little. But I'm going to hold it for 10 seconds or so. And I'm putting pressure. And that's got it seated down onto that other hexagon top. Okay, now that's done. I believe it's going to hold. Nope. All right, I'm having to take it back off and see if I'm getting connection. I am a little bit. I need to add a little bit more there. And one thing I need to do is I need to trim off a little bit of the back side of this one, because it is hitting up against my wall back there. And that's what's keeping this thing from sitting flat. And if you see what I'm trimming the inside of that little tab. That little tab right there is touching the wall. Okay, let's get it going back one more time. A couple more dots of super glue up on top of these bolts is what I'm using. Make sure everything's seated right. All right, where am I at? Back here. There. Well, dang it. I cut the wrong one. It's this one. Okay, once that's cut, hopefully I ain't screwed it up too much already. That feels a little better. Just come on down. Alright. Now I'm going to go upside down with her so that I can see that I've got everything seated correctly. And you look from the bottom there. I'll get everything seated and it don't look like it. So Don't panic. Get this back off. This is the part that's not seating on me. Add a little more glue. I just didn't have enough glue on there. Okay. Got enough now. Short piece. That's it. That feels a lot better. Of course, it's going to have to dry a little bit. Now, I want to make sure that my top is sitting flat now. So I'm going to eyeball it. Because where that glue dries, that's where the sucker's going to sit. And if you got it crooked, you're going to have a leaning tire pizza before you know it. All right, I eyeballed it down flat up there. Now, while that's drying, hang on now. I make sure she's flat. And I know this is a crooked old building, but it ain't even that crooked. All right, so while that is drying, I'm going to drop back now again and do that bridge that I skipped over back here on step 4. So the bridge assembly, I need number 3, which is the main bridge. That's right here. Gonna need 4 and 5, which is in the arches here. Over to the arches. Once again, I'm using the flat part to cut out to the outside. And once it gets off, and I overcut almost through this big overcut. Don't try to get this tool up against the piece while it's still on the sprue. I stay a good ways away from it. That way you don't get damage to the piece when it's on the sprue and you're cutting and it's pushing the piece away from the sprue. Okay, and need 8 and 9, which is going to be some steps. And once again, like I said, I can't hardly find the numbers on here. It looks like that's going to be one of them. And that's the other one. So there's not that many pieces. You pretty much can eyeball out which ones is which without the numbers. You might could even throw this thing together without even looking at the directions. There's a couple of things that you need to put together before you put the other ones together, but the most of them ain't that crucial. The main one was that little piece in the roof there, that edge piece in the roof. You got to put that in before you put the roof on. You got to put this side piece number 6 in before you put that roof on, because it slides on the inside of the whole thing. Other than that, I hadn't run into too much so far. Let me get these cleaned up, this daggum bridge. We'll have it together. Once again, this is very, very thick plastic, man. This is the thickest kit I've ever had from Games Workshop. But it is the older, little bit softer plastic than is coming on the newest kits. And it's an older kit, doesn't go together quite as precisely as some of the newer stuff where every single mold line is hidden. I believe that this one wasn't made on a computer. I believe this is one of the models that was made after Andy Chambers, I think. One of his scratch built thing for Warhammer Fantasy Battle from way, way back, man. And then they ended up modifying it. It come out as a skull vein Mance several years back, and then they discontinued it. And just recently, just several weeks ago, these suckers are going to $300 something or more on eBay in the box. And it's a very highly sought after kit. A lot of people had seen it. Yeah, I'm switching back and forth, man, between the plastic glue and the super glue on these. On putting this one together. I'm mainly using the plastic glue because I got such thick plastic connections that's going together. But on a couple things, I'm using super glue to where if I might could get it back apart. Of course, I use super glue to put the windows in, and I use super glue to just put that big part on there just in case I had to rearrange it a few times, which I did. But I think I got it on there good. And while I'm fooling with this dang bridge, it'll be up there drying. By the time I finish this bridge, hopefully it'll be dry. Dry enough to be connected is what I'm saying. Now, I'm going pretty quick over this flash. Before I prime this thing up, I'll go over the whole model again and check out, try to get some more of this flash off. These are some very thick sprue connections, man. Very thick. And but at the same time, what's helping you is this is a rustic style model. You know, and so some of this stuff will be hidden in the rusticness of the model. There are a fair amount of mold lines. I'm gonna tell you, if you're OCD about daggone mold lines, you're gonna have a field day on this one. But I mean, it's not nothing compared to like maybe doing a Forge World or some different resin things, or God forbid one of them War Machine models. Man, that's just the absolute worst, man. Those resin, just absolute worst quality, everything all the way around, man. I've never had a worse quality models. I don't see how people are even suffering through them. I built one set of them, ogres or some such not. I built one set of them. Took me forever just to build itself, and was not enjoyable. See, I'm enjoying myself a little bit on this one, man. Even though I've run into a couple of little problems, this is what I'm still considering an enjoyable build. Maybe not as smooth as like the Great Unclean one or something such like that, but this is what I can call an enjoyable build. That one, no. And then War Hordes. And it ain't just me. I heard it from a whole bunch of people. It's every single model they got. And that's why, man, when people complaining about GW prices, man, in some instances, and this is one of them, man, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for, man. If you want the best, and this is a luxury hobby. I mean, hell, this is toy soldiers, man. And these are the best toy soldiers on the planet. The best ones ever been produced. And if you want the best, you got to pay for it. I mean, hell, Reaper makes damn miniatures and selling. You can buy a dang dragon ogre or whatnot. I mean, they selling miniatures for just a couple of dollars. But look at the quality and look at these qualities. You get what you pay for in this. I love these too because, hell, 20 years later, I had stuff in a box. I bring it back out and play it. Play it. They got rules for it. It hasn't decreased in value. In fact, that same damn box is still the same price or more. They ain't discounting nothing. So this is a big difference between this type of stuff here and, say, video games. Because video games, you know it, you can't go back. You're going to go back and play Madden daggone 14? You know? Nobody is. So it's not like video games. You can get your money back out of this later on, out of this hobby, if you really want to. You're not losing. It's not just what I want to call expendable money. Like I got hooked on that dang World of Tanks for several months. I was hooked bad on World of Tanks. And you want to play a premium account and buy premium ammo, and then you think GW's coming out with stuff quick? That dang game. World of Tanks, every week they're coming out with new tanks that you gotta buy, that you make you want to buy them. And hell, you're buying digital reproductions of fantasy tanks for an arcade game. That is just going into thin air. And of course, you know, I spent hundreds of dollars probably on that game, and I reckon I could log back into my account and it's still there now. But what's going to happen 3, 4, 5 years from now when that game's not being supported at all on PlayStations and things like that. My money's just gone. I just paid for just the sheer enjoyment of playing the game. Whereas this, man, you're paying for enjoyment of the game, of course, but these things, I'm not going to call it an heirloom or anything like that, but these things hold value. They just hold value, game-wise and collectible-wise. Now, I'm going to tell you this, we're not going to see any more regular Marines ever again produced by them. So I think those regular Marine boxes that have a regular size Marines in them is what I'm saying. Do you think regular size boxes, they're going to get rare and they're going to get expensive on eBay and all as they get rarer and rarer, because Games Workshop ain't going to make no more little Marines, man. It's all Primaris. Even the chaos that may be coming that we ain't even seen yet. Hopefully we're going to see an Angron, but I mean, I ain't got real high hopes for that. I know, and everybody knows, that the daggum Berserkers, the Corn Berserkers, need an upgrade. Them models is just really too cartoony, you know, especially for what the newest things they got going on now. And as you've seen, if you read up in the books of the lore, that daggum Fabius Bile, I believe, has got his hands on some kind of Primaris gene stock. Yeah, I believe it said it right there in the daggum first rule book and all, that Fabius Bile's done got his hands on some Primaris gene stock, and he should be pumping out Primaris type Chaos Space Marines. And wouldn't you think, I mean, wouldn't you like to see a daggum Fulgrim model? We're doing Age of Sigmar here, though, ain't we? All right, so here we go. 4 and 5. Let's get them oriented. Now, that looks like it's going to be number 5. That looks like it's number 4. They look like they're oriented that way. This right here looks like it's number 3 with the flat part to the inside like that. So, let's see how this goes. Looks like it slots right down in there like that. We'll go ahead and put some glue down. A little bit of glue. And orient them again to my picture. Flat part toward the inside. Get that stuck. Now I'm using plastic glue here, of course, not super glue. I want this to weld in good. Okay, I believe I can now orient this piece. It's going to be this way. And this looks like the same type of thing. It's got 3 ledges right here. I'm going to put glue on 3 ledges. I'm going to put a little bit of glue along the wall, upper wall, where the pieces are going to hit. Now I'm going to stand her up and get it right in the slot. Slide it together. Hold it straight. And once again, like I said, I'm not using super glue on this one, so it's going to take a little bit longer to actually straight, you know, get it hardened up where it'll hold a straightness. So that's good there. Now it looking like I'm going to need to put these dang steps together. And this looks like a side step here. It goes, this looks like a side step part that goes over on this side. And I'm dry fitting. Well, that don't look like nothing. Alright, maybe I got it wrong. Got it upside down, don't I? Alright, that piece there. This piece here. Now, this will show you how off some of this modeling is. That's my fit right there. So, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to give my hardest connection to here instead of here. I'm going to set it on the ground and dry fit it. And it looks like my gap needs to be up against the side of the steps. It looks like my step part is the one that needs to be flat. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue in there. This one I'm super gluing because I want it to be a pretty quick bond. A very quick bond. Because of the way this is fitting together. I want it to be pretty quick. So it's from the second step down. Getting it on all sides, it's going to have a connection. I think it hits there just a little bit at the top. But I'm not touching it all at the bottom, so I'm not going to put any on it. So I'm going to put it on the ground and do the connect. That's how you do it. Get it on the ground, get it together, squeeze it. I'm going to hold it for about 10 seconds. Let that dry for a second. Now I'm going to start looking at how this goes together. Orient my... Boy, that's some thunder. Orient my piece out here. And it's looking like this comes out right under here. Looks like that bridge is going to hook right to there. So, let's see which part would be looking. I'm looking backwards at it. So, it would go this way. Let's just orient it like I got the map. Now then y'all can't see. Alright, so over here, I believe it's going to go in like this. That ain't right. It's the other side. So I gotta twist this around. It goes like this. Yeah, that's way more like it. Okay. See where my connection points is? I got them. I'm gonna put my glue down. Plastic glue. This time we'll weld it in on both sides there. Okay, here we go. Run that up in there. Push on it and hold it so I get a good connection. Get the glue squeezed out just a little bit. Okay, I knocked this out crooked when I tried to glue it. There we go. Now I need to look and see how that staircase goes up in there. And it looking like it goes just like that there. I'm going to use regular glue again on this, or regular plastic glue. I can see where my points are pretty good. And that step goes over the top of there, so I'm going to put some glue up over the top. It sits right down to the side there. Like I said, the dry fitting is how you tell where the dang connection points are going to be. Okay, I got it pushed back up in there. And there it is. Once I hold those steps in, once I yank it to pieces, now, well, here we go. So I got it held in. Now that glue should start to take effect here in a little while. That is the one drawback about this regular plastic glue, man. It's not instantaneous set, and I'm pretty used to that insta set by using super glue. I use super glue a lot. This is a very large model. that's not quite as top heavy as I thought it was going to be. Now I'm done with that bridge right there. So I'm going to go over to here and see what else I'm missing. It looks like the one thing I'm missing is these stairs and walkway assembly. And that's the one that goes, of course, around the outside of here. Okay, I need to assemble 13, 12, and 11 pieces. And once again, there's no photos. So I believe these are the only 3 left on the sprue. I think I'll give this sprue over to my local Warhammer store. They're building up a huge orc village or whatnot. And they're making it all out of sprue. The walkways, the dang everything. And it looks pretty cool so far. Real cool, actually. And I guess I'm going to give him a couple of this ginormous sprue here. This thick sprue. And them orc boys will be able to make something out of it. Okay, that's just one sprue down. Put that to the side. Keep all this stuff off. And speaking of these walkways like this, I done had my eye on it fairly recently. That daggum set that they call the Lake Town, which is for the Hobbit. And I believe it's got a bunch of walkways very similar to these wooden walkways right here that you can have for it. But I believe it comes in sets that you have to buy a considerable amount before you're going to get a lot of walkways going on. But, you know, these thing walkways do look pretty good, man. They got every nail represented in it. I mean, you could scratch build these, but, you know, I never thought that I would be, if you'd have told me 10 years ago even that I'd be buying GW terrain like this, I'd have said, you're damn crazy. Because I build a lot of terrain. I scratch build stuff. And I'm like, well, GW, you know, that's stuff for people that can't scratch build. Well, they changed all that up for sure, man. The quality of these became to where the time and effort it take me to scratch build, some even close to the quality of these, it became not worth it. It became worth more of my time to take money and buy these nice sets instead of trying to just scratch build everything just to do it on a budget. Now you can war game on a budget, man, because I war gamed on a budget for many a moons. But you know, I make a little bit more money now, and I can afford to buy a good bit of this stuff. If Games Workshop would just slow down just for a second and let me catch my breath, I can have a lot more stuff. But man, they got some mold lines on these. Big mold lines. You're not gonna like these, Russ. Not gonna like these at all. You're supposed to get 3 of these suckers. But I've also been in cahoots, been talking to a fella from Green Stuff Games named Joe, and I'm believing we're trying to get us up a live Warhammer show, maybe mostly about, I mean, he does 40K too and all, but it may be just on all about Warhammer stuff. It'll be a live type show. We're trying to put some stuff together for that. And so my live show should be cranking up to be a lot more. I know, to tell you the truth, I don't think I did have done a video till tonight. I think New Year's Eve was the night I'd done that great unclean one build. And so it's been, what, a month and a week, 5 daggum weeks since I even had a video out. All right. Whoa. Whole thing come crashing down. All right. Now I'm finna put together the walkway. Orient it the way that they got it here in the book. It looks like this goes to there. And it looks like that goes to there. Yeah, these older kits, they don't have the slots exactly the way those other ones had. It just, I mean, just slide it in just perfectly and all. All right, so let's see what we got here. I think I'm gonna have to put this in like this. I am. All right, I'm gonna super glue these in because I want a strong connection if I'm gonna keep just building up on them. I believe that'll take care of that right there. It slots in between these two buildings, just like that. There's another one you gotta hold your mouth right just a little bit, and it gets slided in just like that right there, and it's in there. That'll help hold this too, this weak sucker right here. Now, they're talking about a staircase right there that looks like it slots. It looks like it slots into the side of this, fitting to see, and goes up. Once again, this is a benefit of daggum dry fitting to see. And I think I need to actually put this one on here and then connect them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, it has to be like that. Is there another little piece that goes over there? Walkway. Because I need to make it over to this door, and it's not making it over. So, let's see what's wrong. That looks exactly right. That looks like it's right. But why ain't over to that door? Let's see. If I was over to the door, it'd be like that. No, that ain't it. So, I'm over here. That fits exactly right. Got that. Fits pretty dang good. Now they got an optional assembly here without the tower where you can put that, the plank just right there. So let me see what's going on. I can't believe I got all the way down to the end of this and I messed it up. So, something, it never does show the other side of this building. It never does. That's a strange one. Okay, I'm looking over here. I got the battlements. Battlements. They This is a very strange one. So if y'all see what's going on, I can come around here with this walkway. And it catches up with that door. Let me move this so you can see it. What's going on? I got this walkway coming along. Walkway comes off of here. Connects up, catches that door. This staircase would be right here. And we'll go up and catch this walkway, which goes along and catches that door. Now what it is, I believe I put this together wrong. And that's what's got me messed up. Now, the glue is not dry enough yet to where I'm completely screwed. So what I'm going to do is take it back apart very daggone carefully. Take this back apart. Take my wires back out of it. See, this is where you got to get brave. If you can't, got it. There it goes. Top come off. You can't be afraid. Now, what my problem was I needed to catch more of them doors. How I'm going to do that? Okay. That means this thing was just oriented wrong. So with that back up there, let's try this. That's the way I had it. So let's move it one click this way. If I had it one click that way, that would set them there. That would set him there. That would set that there. That would let me come around here with that there. And I catch that door. And that's it. All right, so that was the problem. I had to set him wrong. So the one it needs to go to is actually this back tit. So I'm going to grind that little tit off because I know it's already hitting on the back for the way that other one does. All right, done deal. Now clean out a little bit more old tape. Now, get this top set back on. And it don't got to be on a perfect way. You see there? I just had to be bold a little bit. And grit my dang teeth and tear this sucker back apart in order to get it right. Because I seen it was wrong. And I was going to have to do major scratch building, I guess, to get it right. So, redoing the lights again. I'm going to tape that one light to the ceiling. There we go. Tape the other lights over to that opposite wall. Starting with that one. One more light being taped up. To that opposite wall. Alrighty. Now that I know exactly where my screw up was before, I'm going to be able to put my glue back down. And pop this sucker back on there. Now, let's get my orientation right this time. There we go. Leave that's on there. I believe that's it. So, back with some super glue there. Back with some glue there. Get that walkway back in. Still not gonna be able to reach it, man. I have screwed this thing up. So, like that there. I'm gonna glue this one in. I'm just gonna have to extend it with some scratch build, because I believe I glued this top pieces out of whack. All right, now my staircase. There we go. Okay, I got super glue going on it. Gonna be held for just a few more seconds. You sucker. Yep, you need to pay a little bit more close attention than I did to the orientation of the windows and doors on that upper level. So make sure you do that if you're watching this video to see how this goes together before you try yours. Just see where I screwed up. You have to pay close attention to the orientation of the doors and windows on this top tower. Now, like I said again with super glue, if you get it to stick the first time, it usually sticks really good. If you don't, you may have to wait a minute. Just about got it. Keep spinning it around here. I believe I about got it. I want to make sure that that walkway dries flat so they don't have guys on it and they just fall off because it's leaning down too much. I want to make sure it's level and flat. You see it? Daggum it. All right. That's in there. Now, I've only got one more step left to build, and I'll be done for the evening on this. And that is, well, two really, but I'm going to build the observatory, the arcanoscope. Okay. And of course, it's these two dome pieces right here. Alrighty. Now I reckon it'll be a week or two before I got this painted and can really give it a go and a try out on the tabletop and whatnot. But and I reckon I'll probably get carried away on painting this thing, like sometimes, and go too far and hero paint this daggum thing, like I did a feculent normal. I spent for a daggum 3 days on a tree. So hopefully, man, this thing won't turn into a week-long paint project. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit quicker. All right, I don't believe that I'm gonna magnetize this stuff on this show here tonight. This sucker's still drying. I ain't gonna take a drill to it, and my batteries is dead. And I gotta get to a charger and get some of my drill batteries charged back up. So I ain't gonna magnetize, but I am gonna put it together, assemble it. And I may do a small video on magnetizing, but I mean, it ain't like there ain't a million videos out there on magnetizing. There just ain't a million videos out there right now on building the daggum Warscryer Citadel, which this is probably going to be the only one out there for a little bit of a video building the whole dang thing. So hopefully y'all will go and like this video, and then maybe even subscribe if you ain't subscribed to this channel. Hopefully, once I get this on board with Green Stuff Games, I'm going to be putting out a weekly live show that's on the same dang, that's at the same time each week. That's what my goal is to get to. I want a weekly show. And, and then put out other things like this tutorial type stuff. Okay, I got my 2 pieces done. But it looks like I got to have stuff that goes up inside of them first. The actual telescope itself. So it looks like number 28, 29, and 30 is what I need for the telescope. Okay, they got the telescope all in one piece. That's a good. But it means you're going to have to clean a lot of mold lines. If they got it into one piece like this, and it's a big, thick sucker. There's the lens for it. And that's like what I was going to tell you. I might leave that lens off because of wanting to put a battery powered light in the end of that thing, even though that wouldn't make it a... Here's another sprue down. The little one's done. Anyway, that wouldn't make it a telescope and want to be almost like a dang spotlight or whatever. But it might look cool with a blue or even a red light sticking out of that. I can find me a battery-powered one for about $7 down there at Hobby Lobby. I almost bought it tonight, but I think I can get them even cheaper. Down there, there's a little dollhouse store. And I got to disguise myself to go in there. I'm kidding. But, yeah, don't be afraid to go into a dollhouse store. Ain't nobody looking. I'll go into a dollhouse store because I'm going to tell you this. You're going to find some bits, and I'll find all kinds of scratch building materials in a dollhouse store. Now, most of the dolls, of course, is of a different scale than we fooling with, man. There ain't hardly nobody fooling with tiny little dolls like from a dollhouse. But you can find some stuff that's out of scale, like some of their balusters and all can work as columns for stuff like, that I've been using on. I had to cut down some roof tiles before and use them on the roof. But they do, they do have some stuff. It's similar to scale, and you can use things kind of like I said, out of scale for other stuff. A lot of mold lines on this damn telescope. Good Lord. Yeah, good luck getting them mold lines all the way down off of them dang. Oh my God, off that gear. I'm sure you'll try it, but I'm not doing it. I'm gonna scrape these sides off, and I'm calling it a telescope. The big one. And like I said, I'm going to leave the end lens off this telescope right now. This little cap that I just threw away, that I dropped down. I'm going to leave this end off right here because I'm planning on putting a little spotlight thing on the end there, and I'm going to have to be drilling out pretty a big onto that end to get that spotlight in. So I'm leaving that off. So it looks like I can get this thing. Now, is the gears on top or bottom? The gears is on top. I'm sorry, the gears sprockets is on top, and that big gear is on the bottom. So it's going to set in the side just like that. Got a little bit of them. I mean, some of them mold lines are just pretty outrageous on this. But once again, for the millionth daggum time, this is an older model. And it wasn't built with computers. And all the mold lines aren't hidden as well. And they're just not as, it's just not as well hidden, the mold lines and all, as the newer kits that were designed by computers. And they can try to hide them a lot better. Not that this ain't a good kit. It's a very nice kit. But it just ain't to the standards of the brand new kits. All right, we're about to get wrapping up here. Once I get this piece in and the other side of this put together, I believe that's going to wrap it all up. And I'm not going to build the battlement right here. It's for 4 pieces. But I may do that and have it already done for the for when I go to show if I want to put the magnets in it all. But just know that I'm going to magnetize it to where I can use this telescope, which they're calling Arcanoscope, or I can use the battlements. And once again, per the War Scrolls, the battlements is what allows you to have, you can have a monster that can fly, it says, up on top of here. And that can get pretty crazy with a monster up on top. Or you have the Arcanoscope. And this daggum Arcanoscope, what it does is it allows anybody inside of it, the hero, that is, inside of it to automatically, not automatically, but a hero inside can attempt to, they don't call it deny the wish. See, I give you 40K and it's all screwed up. Can attempt to unbind one spell. Okay. And if you're a wizard and you're garrisoning this sucker, you can attempt to unbind 2 spells in your daggum hero phase. So it's a anti-magic with this thing on it. And with the battlements, this is going to stay on the sprue for right now. With them battlements on it, that's so a monster could be up on top of here. Now, as you see, that thing just sits right up on top. The telescope. And I mean, you wouldn't even you almost don't have to magnetize it. This is the way it sits like that. Now, I'm a little bit curious to see how them dang battlements fit. And it looks like they do fit over the outside, just like this one fit over the outside. So you might not even have to magnetize this stuff. Like I said, I don't have my drill batteries and all right now, so I ain't going to be drilling into it and putting the magnets on it. That'll be all later off a screen and stuff. But there's how the Arcanoscope looks. And I'll get them dang battlements built. They do give you a couple more little things. I'm going to show them to you on the sprue. Some iron crosses with skulls in the middle of them and wreaths. And they give you these window type covering things. I guess it gives you a little bit more variety and all. And I think you can use these to cover over some of these daggum doors that are sticking out to, without a battlement over it. I believe that's what this is for. And I believe I'm going to look at one and maybe do one. Just cut this out. I think that's what it's for. And I spent all that time breaking that thing apart when I had it right the first time. I had it right the daggum first time. So. Okay, once again, this thing is crooked. I gotta move it before the glue completely dries. Once that plastic glue dries, this thing is set where you had it. And that's it. It's a done deal. So I got this going on a little bit wrong. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I believe this covers over one of them doors, and it does. It'll cover over that door that you can't get a horse cart to the walkway. That's what these are for. Probably should have seen that. I bet it's in the instructions somewhere. Let me go here and look. We're going ahead and talking about accessories. Yep, they said cover over them from, and they show you right where to do it, man. To cover over them doors that don't get a walkway to them. Right there in front of my face. All right. So I'm gonna cover over that door. Right here. And I got one more door over here that's hanging out here that ain't doing nothing, and I'm going to have to put the same thing on. So what I do is I go over here. I'm going to cut this one out. Yeah, all that tearing apart I done was for nothing. I had it right in the first place. I just didn't know what the heck. I hadn't looked, I guess, further down in the book to see what these do. Okay, just about got that. So once again, these are going to go over the top of that door to cover over a door that doesn't have a walkway to it. Right there. And it fits right in there. Nice. Better get on there. Like I said, with super glue, it sticks really good when you get it for the first try. If you got to go on a second, third try, it can be a little hectic. Stick on there. Now, what I am doing is taking that back up. It is not sticking, and I need some glue on it. There we go. And that on the side. There we go. Now, bring it back down. Pick it back up, because I got to have that level. And once again, the fit and finish of this leaves something to be desired. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to rig something up here to hold this till it dries. Too tall. Too tall. Too short. There we go. Nope. A little bit more. Now, that's more like it. And that will sit there till that dang plastic glue dries. Once that plastic glue dries, Come on, we'll get back in there. Okay, now I'm starting to get too fiddly with it. Maybe I'm going too far. But I do want it to sit relatively flat. There it's going. It's starting to stick itself. But if I could just get something up under it, it would hold it in place really good. There we go. There we go. Now, I believe I'm going to kill the lights again and try to turn this thing. Boy, am I? Okay, I done got that. Really want to see where that goes because I forgot to even put that on. It's some kind of hat. It goes up with the telescope. It's saying it goes on the back of it. Somewhere on the back right here, you got a hatch going on. And I'm going to stick it on there right there. And put that telescope hatch right there. Make sure that sticks. Put that sucker back up there. Now, get my light switch out. And once this is all dry and I can handle it a lot better, I'll be able to place my lights, which is all in a big bundle right now. I'll be able to place my lights up in there, tape them to the walls where I need to, where I want them to give me the best light. I don't have to fool around with it. But once I got all these up in here where I need them, and like I said, this ain't gonna be the best look because I don't have my lights. The lights ain't up high enough yet. But this might give me a little look about what colors and all, and if that top is gonna light up and whatnot. So let's cut it on. Oh, and it looks like it's on a little bit. You see, I'm gonna have to adjust like the placement of the lights, but you know, you can see the lights are on. When no one's home, and you're mine, it's not your own. Thought about this too. Thought about drilling out the holes in the skull eyes and let light come out of them. But I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna cut these lights out real quick so maybe I can see this a little bit better and see how it's lighting up. Or maybe that's too much. You can see the lights coming out of there. Hang on 1 second. All right, now you can see the lights a little bit better. I'm gonna turn this away. Okay, you can see how it's lit up. Hang on, let me get this thing light away. And like I said, I still have to put the lights and tape them inside there where exactly I want them. But that'll show you that upper part is lighting up yellow. This lower part is lighting up purpley blue, I reckon. But I'll go up inside there once this is dry and I can really handle it good. And I'll tape the individual lights up in there where I need them to work. So, all right, I'm fairly pleased with it. It wasn't as enjoyable build as a lots of them, but you know, it came together okay. And I'm happy with the lights, fairly happy with the lights. And I'll be a lot happier when I can place the lights up in there where I want them. And I'll have to do a little bit more fiddling with it. But that's how it is. That's the Warscryer Citadel. The Warscryer Citadel. All right, and I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. It is a massive model, as you can see. And I did just a little bit of modding on it to put a few lights in it, which is a simple $4 light system I got from Hobby Lobby. And I am going to change this, of course, where I can magnetize this, where you can have this Arcana scope, which is going to give you them unbinding rolls, or the battlements. I got to still put together off the screws. The last thing left on the screws and battlements. And the battlement will allow you to have a monster garrisoning this piece right here. But it is a fantastic model, and I'm very pleased with it. And it's big. It's going to be a nice centerpiece. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please go over and subscribe. I know this was a daggum long one. I didn't mean for it to get this long, but it did. But go over and subscribe, like the video if you can, and be watching out for my next ones. It's going to probably be some more live streaming going on because of the screen capturing issues that I've been having. So anyway, y'all take it easy. And I'll be back on the next one.